Another fun episode with Christina Rumbley Stratton. You know, I call her Rumbley. She's always going to be Rumbley to me. I don't even know what we talked about. We talked about our kids. We talked about our husbands. We talked about our lives. We talked about emotions. We talked about everything. You know, I never have to think of what to talk about for Christina because we just never stop talking. So it makes for an easy conversation and a great podcast guest. So I hope you enjoy my catch up with Rumbley. It was really fun. We laughed a ton. I hope you laugh a ton as well. Thank you for emailing. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for sharing the podcast with other people. I got so many great responses from the Kylie and Georgia episode and the Isla and Lou episode. Thank you for all your comments. They were so gracious and lovely about 4 kids that I care a lot about. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, thanks for coming back every week. I hope you enjoy this episode with Rumbley.
But it looks a little yellow on the screen right now. So no, but I call it the COVID-19. Well, it's COVID-20. Let's give it a new name. The COVID-20. It's called the COVID-20 pounds. Motherfucking pounds. I lost 35 pounds pre-COVID to gain 20 back. Can someone tell me why? How? Oh, I know. Hold on.
That's exactly why. I gained about 8 back. I lost 20, gained back 8. So
it's awful.
That's awful.
It's part of the awful. I mean, if we really, the question today is are we going into the shit show conversation or are we going to go into
what shit show conversation?
There is none. It's perfect. Everything's daisy.
What are you talking about? What is there a shit show happening?
Oh God. In my life? How's yours? You have a shit show going on? Hold on. Do you have a shit show to talk about? I hope so.
Well, I think my shit show got her shit together and pulled it out. I'm super impressed. My youngest daughter was failing algebra, legit failing, like a 45 was her grade, and wouldn't let me help her, wouldn't let me get her a tutor. And then we got a letter from the principal saying, if you have a D or less, you will be going to summer school. Mm-hmm. Didn't come from me. Came from the principal. Nice. So that girl took a sharp left turn, let me get her a tutor, met with her teacher in her study hall, and busted her ass, and she got a 100 on her algebra final. The teacher said, if you do one piece of extra credit, you'll make it.
And what'd she get? A C?
I haven't gotten her grade yet. She's doing her one piece of extra credit today. So this day's last day of school for her. But that has been, it's been just an ongoing struggle to try and balance, right? How do I let her be independent, let her fail because she's refusing the help, right, and not lose my ever-loving mind? Because I've
strangle the physical life out of her body.
Yeah.
Go to jail for the rest of your life, you know.
Maybe not the rest. They'd probably meet her and go, okay, 5 years.
They're like, all right, you served your time.
you get off easy with this one. So,
yeah.
That's been my only real shit show has been algebra.
Well, construction too.
Well, construction, yes, obviously. Construction has been, I'm looking at it right now, has been slow moving. Slow moving.
Yeah.
We were supposed to move in.
Tonight when you were texting me, I laughed because you were dropping your F-bombs and you usually don't. And I was giggling out loud. I was like, oh my God, Leanne has opened the floodgate and is like, and I was like, that's just like butter in my ears.
Delicious when I get to the point where I start going, these fucking guys didn't do a fucking thing while I was out of town.
It's awful. Yeah.
It is.
So, and people would be like, oh, boo-hoo, you're building a house. And you're like, okay, yeah, all right, I understand. We're not talking about, you know, I get tired of like cancel culture. You know, that whole thing is a whole nother, like, holy crap. I was telling someone the other day, I said, I wouldn't want to do 3 things. I wouldn't want to be 3 people right now. I wouldn't want to be the president of the United States. No. I never. Don't want that shit show. I would not want to be a cop ever. Nope. Not happening. Thank you very much. I'm out. And I wouldn't want to be a comedian right now. And I thought about that. And I thought about Bert in his life. And I thought, because you are constantly having to navigate uncharted water where you literally you're supposed to be not PC. You're supposed to push and make people go, ooh, or it's like art, right? It's art. And I think I'm funny. And so what happens is I'm so not PC and I have to be so careful, right? And so my daughter, as you know, and we talked about this, has Asperger's, ASD, autism spectrum disorder, because you can't say Asperger's anymore.
Why?
They decided it doesn't exist. It's not, it's the autism spectrum disorder. And FYI, caveat, when I say these things, of course, it's because I don't judge it. That's what they decided, whatever. But Avery has Asperger's. That's what I know now, right? And that's what I've learned. And I studied that. And so they're like, well, it's the autism spectrum disorder. And I'm like, who gives a shit? How about it is fucked up?
Right.
How about it's awful to deal with, right? Now, and then as a mom, I go guilty for feeling that guilt of being irritated by it and all things that we'll talk about. And because I can't go into a talk group with autistic parents, because the one I tried, I felt horrible because one of the moms who was like, because her kid is in a diaper at 15 and drooling. And I'm like, and I'm going, oh, my daughter is such a pain in my ass. I mean, and so it's like, you can't, I feel like I'm back in LA in that Jackie's class where the kids were like 4 months old and everyone's like, the wheels on the bus go around. I'm like, everyone likes this because this sucks. Everyone thinks the parent is great. No one thinks this sucks. Everybody likes having shit on them. Everybody likes their boobs having mastitis. Everybody likes having two boobs, one size F and one size C. No one's talking about this. I was that girl, right? I'm in the class going, you're a liar. You're a liar. You're stupid. That was me. I was being so judgmental. So now I was in this one class going, I can't be honest. I can't say what I feel. So I feel like for this past 14 months, I'm trapped in this, you can't really say anything because then you're judged, and you can't do anything because what you want to do, you'd go to jail for. But Avery is let's see, she didn't get to go to school, obviously, for 14 months. Up here, it was not happening. And she's dually enrolled. She goes to a STEM school and she's dually enrolled. So she goes to a community college too. It's like a dual enrollment, online only. Avery, 6 months ago, was diagnosed because we had to go to, when you have an autistic child, you have to go through like you did. You go through the disability thing because we want to forever have them able to get whatever meds, whatever thing they need without hassle and problem. And it's like a year-long process. It's 6 months, and they're like, and we'll see you in 9 months. You're like, I hope I'm alive by then, because
one of us will be dead.
What am I taking? Because someone needs to subdue me. And so what I found myself doing was dreading every day. And so she goes to sleep at 6 a.m. Okay.
Up all night.
Oh, and wakes up at 2 in the afternoon. Why? Because she would wake up 8:25 for her Zoom class and has her phone right here. And it's just literally like, I'm out, right? This is the kid who has had straight A's her whole life, right? And so, that's something. And our daughter is known for procrastinating. She has a really great gift of procrastinating and just 11:59, do it midnight, boom, and gets the A. So there's a reward in that. And I'm like, it's like heroin. You're getting your fix. It's dopamine. Okay?
Right.
No, it's not. No, it's not. The robot. No, it's not. It's totally separate. No, it's freaking dopamine. Study psychology. No, it's not. I took psychology. I'm like, you took a 7-second class. You are not a psychologist. Please.
And you might have been asleep in it. And you might have been asleep with it next to your head. But just so you feel better, that's what I did too. I walked in.
About you. But you told me what to do. And I said, oh my God, that's a great idea. You take them out of the room. You make them get dressed. They go to another place. I had that conversation with her after you and I spoke. And this is where the ASD, the Asperger's, comes in, which is literal, and goes, I don't need to do that. Yeah, you do. You need to get out of your bed, horizontal, where you're literally going to have Gumby effect. There's no muscle tone. You're turning into a blob, a literal like silly putty. She has no calves. She has no calves. Her calves, right, Liam? Like, you know what I'm talking about. The person that's like, here, go give me that. And you're like, what is that? What is that?
Yes. Oh, Isla Kreischer. My
for Christ's sake.
Anything. Isla, we have now every Saturday we work out with a trainer, the whole family.
Yeah. Oh God.
And other families in our little friend group, right? And there's a young man in the friend group who almost passed out, and he couldn't figure out why. And his mom was like, because you never leave your room. You've been in the same hoodie for 9 months, and you wonder why you almost passed out.
You're
and then
Isla,
I know, right? And then Isla couldn't lift the bar that the weight goes on. Not the weight, just the bar. She had to reduce down to an 8-pound bar because I couldn't lift it. I was like, I'm embarrassed because I feel like this is my fault, even though I've all but drug her down the street to try and get her active. She wouldn't do anything.
Nope, I know. And I'm living, okay, so she had to take these AB Tech classes, right? So it is online only, and it's 2D art, 3D art appreciation, and this stupid like restaurant safe pass class because it's the only thing she could take. And I'm like, it's art. You'll be fine. She's like, oh, it's going to be easier this semester. Yeah. Oh my God. Leanne, she had 47 assignments she hadn't done.
What?
The teachers are writing me. The professors don't give a shit. I was like, she's on the spectrum. You know that she gets accommodations. Who can I meet with? The dean was like, well, we can't speak to you. We need to speak to Avery. I'm like, she's 16. She doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground. She doesn't bathe. She doesn't bathe. Okay. I mean, she's 6.
She has no calves. I think that's my favorite saying. She has no calves.
No calves. None of it. Gumby. We call her Gumby. Just no body, no muscle mass whatsoever. Literally turning into a blob. And I was like to the principal person, the dean, I go, okay, well, she's a minor. They're like, well, not when they're dual enrolled. She's an adult. I'm like, but she's not an adult. And I'm like, and she's on the spectrum. And I have a letter here. And they're like, yeah, well, we need to clear. She has to give us permission. I'm like, she has to do what? I mean, she ain't giving you shit permission. I'm giving her permission to breathe. So you need to let me tell you. And they're like, we need Avery to send us her doctor report to prove that she has autism. I said, you want my 16-year-old daughter who has autism to send you a 50-page report about the reflection of what the doctor sees in her, what she says and he says about her, and what I say about her on a document? You want her to have that in her possession to send to you so she can, if she's curious, which she wouldn't be, but if she was, to read about the perception of those around her, of her? How about? I was like, never.
How about big time go fuck yourself?
Into a huge spiral of further depression, because that is what we're dealing with, which is depression, anxiety, stress, and all that. And then we get the diagnosis of executive function disorder. And that I was like, what's that? Neighbor's like, I told you I had that. She just took the PSAT, slept like 2 hours, took it, and got like almost 1,400.
Wow.
And I'm like, she did the ACT, and she had never even seen the test. She got like a 33 out of 36. I'm like, okay, so what are we dealing with? And it was so difficult because I'm still in the mode of like, you gotta do it. I can't, she says. I'm like, but you don't have a choice. You want me to withdraw you out of school? What are we supposed to do here? You have to. Because she'd be on her phone. She would be, and I'm like, I got to take that away. And then I become the enemy. And then we have a mental health crisis. And then she threatens mental health. And I'm like, I'll put you in a straitjacket. Like, I'll call and they will wrap your shit up, because I'm not going to have that. You're not going to dangle that little carrot. And she's not a manipulator. Right. I wish she would manipulate me, man. I want the kid that's sneaking out trying to fuck boys. Please. That's what I need. Like a girl. I don't care. Fuck a tree. I don't do that's like typical, so that I can know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
Because I can't. Because it can't. There's no way.
Now, how much of this do you think is executive function, or is it just depression?
It spirals. Executive executive function disorder or executive dysfunction, it's kind of the same thing, sparks depression and anxiety.
This is part of the root.
They feel guilty and can't get out of the cycle and feel the pressure and the anxiety of, I should be doing this. I got to go to bed. I've got to turn this off. But autism kicks in and goes, but you have to finish that. You have to finish that game you're playing. You have to finish that task you're doing. You have to finish that drawing, even though you focus 4 hours on the eye sockets of the drawing. And I'm like, but, because, we get in that argument. She's like, you have no idea the stress I'm under. And inside I'm going, oh no. You're not gonna fly. Like there's a nest, you're in it, and you're going to, like, you're dead, bird, wing, beak missing, like dead. And I'm just like, oh my God, where do we go wrong? Doug and I talk about it and I'm like, oh God, how do we, it's just so hard. And then you feel bad because you can't judge them for feeling what they're feeling. And then you throw the lovely little nugget of autism in there. And let's just cap it off with executive function and me say, you smell like shit. I need you to shower. I can't. Yes, you can. Do I need to throw you in the shower? And I'm being funny, not funny. Like I'm being real. And I don't joke with her. Like I'm kind of like in it. And some people will be like, oh, it's so mean. And I'm like, well, tell me what to do then. Because I had a lot of moments with Doug. I just would start bawling. And I felt so guilty about, I still do. I feel guilty about just wanting normal, whatever that means. But to me, the normal would be the kid that comes home and says, oh, I can't believe so-and-so said that. Oh, it made me so mad. Or I'm upset about that. Instead of like, no, I don't know what's going on. No, I didn't talk to anyone. No, I'm not going to ask my friend to stay the night. No, I just, you know what I mean? Just that normal, just even prom dress shopping.
Well, isn't part of autism spectrum disorder is that they don't connect with people the same way that other kids do?
Yeah.
Is that right?
They're very solo focused friends. And they hyper analyze everything. And girls on the spectrum, especially Asperger's, I have to just say Asperger's, to me, that's what it is. They mimic behavior or they question, they're in their head the whole time. If they're around a friend or a friend's, and then you deal with the kid who looks at things half empty. I mean, there's a negative spin there and Avery's like that and has the viewpoint of, they don't like me. They're just here because she'll go in this negative self-talk, right? It's the same with the kid that's like, I'm ugly, I'm fat, and she has that too, all that fun stuff. And I'm looking at her going, you're beautiful, you're this, you're just saying that. No, no, you're stunning. You look like a giraffe. I mean, you're like a gazelle. You're like a Gumby, but you are.
Yeah, she's beautiful. And she is beautiful.
She's just tall, beautiful. And she's like, no, my face is fat, all this stuff. And that's the normal part, right? I'll take that. Problem is that the analytical side, the obsessive side, the solo focused. I mean, if you want to have a conversation with her, talk about anime, talk about Japanese anime. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to talk about that, you're screwed because that's about the extent of it. There you go. And that will go on for like 2 hours. And I'll sit and listen. And inside I'm going, oh God, because it goes deep. So they hyper focus on it. And they can't connect they can't see that you've tuned out.
They don't read social cues.
Not at all. And empathy is not that, the first thought, like I told you, when I told you I had the UTI or kidney infection thing, she was just like, are you going to take me home? Remember? And I'm like, I'm dying. And she's like, how's this going to screw up my day? And people would be like, that's so selfish. I'm like, no, it's just because she can't see that I would have to go, I'm in a lot of pain and it hurts. So I'm going to need you to do this and not say that. And I need you to feel this and see this because she's going, it doesn't compute.
Yeah.
And having to accept that has been interesting for me because I'm very emotionally charged and, I'm a lover. I'm a hugger. I'm aggressive and, I have someone who can't pick up my cues and I'm all out. My face says 5,000 things before I say a word.
It does. Yes. You're very expressive. Well, I would imagine what would be really hard because 75-80% of what you're describing is called teenage girl.
Totally.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it would be really hard as a parent, I would imagine, to suss out what's what. Like, is this just Avery being 16?
Right.
Or is this Asperger? Or is this executive disorder or dysfunction? What is really going on here? And sometimes it's probably a combination of a few.
Yep.
Like that it's a few things, because a lot of the stuff you're describing, I'm like, well, Isla does that. And then when you get a little deeper, I go, well, she definitely doesn't do that.
Right.
But and Georgia does that.
Yeah, but doesn't do that.
But doesn't do that.
Yep. I asked that question to a therapist with Avery. I said, so tell me this, where does the teenager begin and the Asperger kid end? And she said, they don't. They whine like that. They dance together because they are one and the same. She said, because the brain is the brain. The brain is, Avery's neurodivergent, they call it neurodivergent. You're not neurotypical. Neurotypical is, where you can kind of go like, this is the behavior that person, they're probably going to say this. They're probably going to do this. This is what they're going to think. A neurodivergent doesn't think like that, doesn't function like that. And they have a hard time. Elon Musk just said that he had Asperger's. Well, I'm like, no shit. I I smelled that a mile away and I can smell it now. Like I know it. I'm like a freaking, I'm always looking for it.
You mean Bert Kreischer? What?
What? No, because he's emotional and he has empathy, right? And he has the ability to express himself and he can pick up on a cue. The thing about him is he likes to be liked. And I'm more like Bert, which is ADD, a little bit more all over the place and a people pleaser and gets in their head and their stomach gets all tore up and they feel like something's wrong. I mean, that is
Bert.
We're the same.
I collect you guys. I have one or two of you guys. I have more than one or two.
You're more like Doug. Pragmatic, logical, isn't emotionally charged like that, but can be because you also have the feminine side of you that has that female edge of communicating. And you're very in tune with feelings and how people perceive, because you're perceptive. And that takes work too. I mean, it's a skill.
It does.
Some people are better than others, but for Avery, she hugs us with a big fat cat between us. That's her method. That's her love language because she wants to be touched, but doesn't really. And it has to be touched like this. And it needs to be a firm, so sometimes I'm just like, I slap her. I'll slap her sometimes. And she's like, oh, I'm like, well, I don't know if I touch your leg or your hair. You're like, And then, so I don't know what is what, but I think that it's interesting because I keep saying to myself, shitty things like, oh my God, I can't wait till she's not here. Okay. Oh my. And then I know that when she's gone, all I'll do is worry about her. Right?
Yes. Well, here's one thing that I have always and will always and forever love about you is that you are very honest with what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think the problem with most people on the planet is that they're not willing to say, I can't wait for her to be out of the house.
Yeah.
And I'm going to miss her like hell when she's gone. Because that's kind of, to me, a lot more balanced than I'm going to lose everything when she leaves, or I can't get her out fast enough and I won't miss her at all. People aren't allowed to talk like this. We just did a book club book about this woman has a blog called Renegade Mothering, and she was like an addict and had a whole huge list of struggles that I've never had. But at the end of the day, she found that she was very alone and lost in mothering because she felt like she couldn't be honest with anybody. That she couldn't say, my kid didn't get in the GATE program. Okay, no big deal. My boy's dyslexic. Okay, so what? And that's just not accepted. I mean, those are just really minor examples, but I think I felt that way always as a parent, that it was not okay for me to go, this fucking asshole that I live with who's 4 is an asshole. Like Isla Kreischer spent her entire childhood trying to die. She was climbing on everything. She was putting shit in her mouth until she was 4. Not like at 1, 2, till she was 4.
And you're like, that's 4 years. 4 years of my life navigating death.
And me going, could someone help me? Could someone help me? Could someone see that I want to like throw her off the second story?
Of course.
And I would never. And,
of course not. And you would never talk about it.
I would never talk about it. No.
In therapy is where you have a place. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
You're right.
But we shouldn't have to wait for therapy. You know, the thing about good friends, you could call me and tell me that you hated your husband, hated him with your guts. And I would know that you didn't really, and that you just needed to spew something. And if something were really wrong and we talked about that, then I would know, okay, something's really wrong. Let's talk about that. But I would never, ever judge you for anything you said about something as emotional as a marriage or being a mother. Yeah. It's really unfortunate that we have gotten to the place where we can't just be honest with how we feel in that moment, because we can't.
You're right.
And, you know, as a comic, watching Bert, like you said before, he doesn't really edit himself very much, but he's also doesn't, his personality doesn't really.
It doesn't rub people that way. You're right.
He doesn't. And he doesn't talk about stuff that's in those kind of.
Himself. He deprecates himself. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's not a hot button topic comic.
Mm-mm.
So he's lucky in that, but he still has to think about everything, where I think, I don't even know how you thought to think about that.
Right. How do you think about how do you walk outside yourself and predict, especially if you're trying to land humor? Because humor a lot of times is in the moment, off the cuff, and especially with Bert. I know that. And obviously he is a brilliant writer, you know, and you are, and I know that. And I thought about that, like going back to what you were saying, I recently had a moment where I was just like, where I live, I've told you, I don't have friends. You're like the closest friend I have. And when we talk, it's like we didn't miss a beat. And so I have some high school friends that know me from high school. So they're, we're pretty raunchy and loud together. They're from Florida, of course. And with the raunchy part, but it's weird. You're right. I don't talk to anyone. My business partner, I can talk to her because she knew Avery. She knew Avery since she was 1.
Yeah.
And has watched her grow. But there's a level of censorship, even with me, because I've had the look. I've felt that cold wash when I've talked about something, and knowing that I'm landing a funny because it's truth and joking, because it's really pain and you're covering it. And I had one woman once say, "Ooh, do you really feel that way?" or something like that. And I remember going, "Oh, this isn't safe. You're not safe. I'm not safe. I'm not safe to let my hair really down." And I know there's a time and a place. You know what I mean? I know that.
Of course. Well, yeah, of course.
But there's some moments where you're just like, can everybody just, example, talking about the schools being closed down. I don't care where people sit. And this is where it sometimes does go into the PC land, right? It's like, I don't care where you sit on the vax, no vax, mask, no mask. It's a conspiracy. It's not, all the crap, right? At the end of the day, get the fucking kids in school. Like, oh my God. Like, how can we not see the damage? I mean, I'm watching it, I'm listening, I'm living it. And I'm like, and my balls are cut off completely, and I can't do anything because it's like, no. Meanwhile, I have a kid who's brilliant, who's like just falling off the planet.
Yeah.
And I'm mad at her, not wanting to be, but mad because I'm seeing this lazy behavior. But how can I get her out of the funk? Because the funk team, Asperger's, executive function, holy shit. I was just like, I'm like, if you get a D, all I could do was say, if you get a D, I'm not paying for college. That's it. And I sat with her several hours a week across while I was in the middle of meetings and just said, get your shit done. I'm right here. And I had to do some of the work for her, because right before D-Day, if you don't, principal, we got the same thing. Principal writes me and says, what do we need to do? I just got a call from her teacher, her professors at AB Tech saying, hey, she's failing. She has 12 hours to turn in 6 projects, art projects. So what do you think I was doing? And I've never had to do Avery's. I've never been the science project mom. No, I'd be like, get your shit done. I'm out. I got my own work to do. Mm-hmm. It was rough, and she pulled it off. And that's the hard part too, though, because then there's no lesson.
Because you pulled it off.
But the lesson had severe consequence, because Doug was like, you're not going to hold true to that. I went, you watch me. You watch me. Her ass can go right to AV Tech. She can move out. She can live in a cardboard box. I don't know what else. At what point? What's the consequence? Like COVID.
Yes.
And I'm like, as someone, COVID can't be an excuse anymore. So we still
they really needed to be. They needed to be in school. I think that obviously the lost lives are the biggest tragedy.
Of course.
But I think the second biggest tragedy is the school age kids that
Absolutely.
just lost 14
Everything.
months.
They lost development, emotional, mentally, friendships. I mean,
they gained anxiety disorders. They gained depression.
Totally. My daughter's on Wellbutrin now. She's taking Wellbutrin because the psychiatrist is like, hey, sometimes this works with kids that have ADHD, which also presents itself as executive function, and Asperger's kids are known to have these problems, and it can help with the motivation. Hasn't done anything. Nothing. She feels nothing has changed. So I'm like, what? And then it takes 6 months to get them to call you back. And I'm like, you're putting a kid on an antidepressant and there's no follow-up meeting?
Right. That's not okay.
It's being an advocate for your own kid, because they can't be an advocate for themselves. Your job is to protect them from themselves. Right. But you're also walking the line of having to give them independence so that they can fly. But how can they fly if you feel like they literally have no wings? You gave them wings, but their wings are clipped by their brain. But I'm not going to have a 25-year-old sitting in my house. It ain't happening.
No, it's such a hard place to be. When Isla went back to school, she went back to school in April. Both of them did, Isla and Georgia. Georgia didn't seem to have any kind of hiccup at all. And I wonder if it's because she was a junior. She had fully established friendships. She had a big social life. And so she just kind of felt like we're all in this together. Whereas Isla was a freshman at a brand new school, didn't know anybody, had no support system at her school, and was just, Gumby also, becoming silly putty also. And the first day she went back to school, she was a different person. The first day. Yeah. First day. She came home from school and I was like, you look great. And she was like, I had the best time. I made 8 friends. First day of school, because all of them were so hungry to be with their peers. And, that's when her grades started turning around too. It was because she was in person. There's a different accountability when you have to show up and look somebody in the eye and they know like you didn't. Exactly.
That's the same way. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a point and make them feel like she's a loser. And when you're no face, nobody knows and nothing, then you can be like that, And I told her that. I said, you're basically doing this to your class, to your teacher, to everybody. Well, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, not literally. You're not flipping it off. Like you're
figuratively.
Yes. Pretend you're doing that with your non-functional self. Like you're not doing anything. You're right. And I think Avery hasn't been back to school yet.
No, they didn't go back at all?
She didn't, because she's duly enrolled. And that college is the one saying, nope. And I'm like, what? It's art.
Right.
How are you supposed to, here, and having to see other kids' projects because she doesn't understand, because she's so literal. And then half of her grade was about writing. This is great. Writing what she thinks about their projects.
Oh, Lord, help me.
Are you shitting me?
That sounds terrible.
Especially for a kid who won't even email a teacher for fear that it is not proper or correct English. Or I'm like, you think she's gonna critique her peers? No. Well, this is and I got on there. I said, Avery, let me show you how it's done. Just mimic what I'm saying. If you like to mimic, no, okay. And I go, this project. I like the colors that they chose to use. It looks like they were functioning with the right project. It seems like they followed the directions great. I think that they have such a good hand. Done. Next. Like, ding. And she's like, I wouldn't say that. I'm like,
right?
Turn it in.
Because
Because he's not even reading it. He literally saw this. Avery Stratton. Yeah. She wrote about 7 lines. Done. Because they've checked out of the building too.
Yes, totally.
She can't do that. Mm-mm.
She's too literal.
No, you should see the projects that she turned in and I was like, Avery, please stop. Please stop X-Acto knifing the rubber thing that you had to make a circle out of. It's fine. It's a circle. Well, no, it's not perfect. I'm like, Rain Man. We watched Rain Man, Doug and I. He didn't laugh. I was hysterical. I am laughing hysterically. And he's like, that's not funny. I'm like, that's because you are Rain Man too. I'm like, I'm Tom Cruise. If you haven't seen Rain Man, you have to watch it because it's been it's been years.
Oh, we just watched it with the girls during the pandemic. It was such a good movie.
And I'm watching Tom Cruise, and I looked at Doug. I said, "Who's that?" Hey, I'm the one getting out of my car, going, "Fucking, I don't care about you don't need that underwear. You don't need to go get that underwear. Oh my God, I'll kill you." That's me. This is me outside of her room.
That's so hard.
It's so hard, and I laughed so hard when he was like, "Yeah," and I go, "Oh my God, 1 and 2. I've got 2 Rain Mans." Like truth and joking, but there's a level, and I mean, I'm grateful that God gave me a sense of humor. I'm glad, but he also gave me, I wouldn't say rage because I don't like rage. I think he gave me
fire. He gave you fire
and
passion
and guilt and just like,
guilt. Well, I know that you have guilt, but does guilt drive you? Do you think?
No. Guilt corrects me. Right?
I see. Yeah, I see.
Guilt doesn't drive me. No. Guilt corrects the behavior after the fact. That's the hard part. And as I've gotten older and tried to mature, sometimes, it's the foot in the mouth. And I think guilt or fear of hurting someone's feelings or, that has also been helpful. But sometimes there's absolutely no filter when it comes to that. Because I will turn it on to go, yeah, I'm going to land that one. That one's going to land and it's going to sting. And I'm going to do it on purpose. I'm going to do it so it's felt. Because I don't know. I'm navigating this. Like I literally feel like I'm on a ship. There's no compass. There's a hole in the boat. Okay. But it's like a hole that isn't huge because you're not going to like sink and go under Titanic quickly, but there's like a little hole and you can see the water coming in and you're like, shit, I should take care of that. And it's okay for a second. All of a sudden you're like, I hear it. And you're going towards, you don't even know where. You're like, I don't know where I'm going.
You're the only one throwing the water out of the boat.
And I have 2 others that are like this. I mean, when are we going to get there? I don't know. I'm sorry. Am I the captain? Did I sign up for that? Here, you can have that hat. I don't want the hat. It's the captain of the ship. I didn't sign up for that shit. But that's why you're with them is because they need you. I know. And that's why I worry about the next year when that need changes, right? And it turns into, because Avery has a hard time being taught by us, life lessons. I'll say, okay, this is a life lesson moment. She failed her driver's license test.
Join the club. So did Georgia. So did almost all of Georgia. I think we had one friend that did not fail. Avery was so mad. And I said to her, why? When she didn't tell me. I texted her that morning because I took her. So I was like, I need you to take her. I can't be in the car. I can't drive with her. It's a problem. Because the whole time I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe. I'm done. I feel like I have COVID. I'm hot. I have a fever. I cough. I swear, every time I have a heart attack. And every time I'm like, if you run a red light, you're never driving again with me. Not going to happen. I will literally throw them in the ocean or crunch them down with a hammer. So we were, I told her, okay, I'm like, Avery, before your driver's test, just ask your dad, just ask him to take you out in the car, just so you can go through kind of the steps, because you've never done a 3-point turn. Yeah, I did. You did it once in
2 years. You've done 1 3-point turn. One. That doesn't make you able to do. It's like she's the kid who was like, I'm a ballerina because she twirled once. I wore a tutu. I'm a ballerina. Hey, reckon that? You're not a ballerina. So that's what, it's that. I know how to drive. No, you don't, because you almost just killed 2 people yesterday when you cut them off and they were honking their horn. And you're like, why are they honking their horns? So anyway, so she said, Doug's like, she failed. And I go, and I laughed. That's maniacal. I mean, I laughed because I said, you know why you failed, didn't you? But I don't have a kid that goes, I failed because I didn't practice. No, I have. Well, I failed because the thing that I always have done, I don't know what happened. I did exactly what they asked. And it just seemed like I went the wrong way. Think about that. You failed because you didn't practice. You can't say that. No, because that's not what happened. Oh my God. And I'm going, you're right. You were right. They were wrong. You didn't fail. They failed. So she's going to have to take it again. And I just was like, are you going to practice this time? No. Okay. We'll see how that goes.
Well, in that, all of George's friends did the same thing. They all did the same thing to fail. I got it. You don't got it.
You don't got it. You weren't driving a golf car like we were. You weren't driving your parents' station wagon at 12 when you shouldn't have been. You weren't, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they had no experience.
No.
I'd been driving a vehicle. I'd been driving like 4-wheelers and go-karts since I was probably 8 years old. So no, that's not a car, but it's the same general principle. You have to regulate your speed. You have to watch your surroundings. You have to figure out how to take turns and not turn over. It's the same kind of, my kids didn't have any of that experience either. Neither did any of their friends. So they all failed. And I think every one of them really believed they got it, right?
Really believed it. Like, got this, hands down. And I'm
totally.
I'm like, no, you don't.
No, you don't got it.
So we'll see.
So that part may just be regular teenager.
100%. Absolutely.
That part's just regular.
Afterwards, rectify. But yeah, I don't know. Leanne, I just don't know. I know that I am exhausted. I know.
You sound, this sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it is.
What are you doing to take care of yourself?
I get my hair done, and I gained 20 pounds. And I enjoyed.
I don't know if that qualifies as taking care of yourself. Are you talking to anybody? I know you have your ASD group or whatever it is, but that doesn't count.
I went one time because of the. And then I was like, no, not the right kid in the group. This is me. I'm going to get fired from this group, but. Not really, because, it's definitely a need. And now that Asheville's like, you wear your mask, and I'm like, they don't make us wear them anymore. We're good. I'm vaccinated. We're good.
Right.
Right. That's the point. That was the point.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm going to start going back to the woman I was seeing before and see if I can do tele, because it's a lot easier than driving somewhere, Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start doing that just to get through the next year with Avery and learn how to. I really want to talk to someone who works with girls with Asperger's, especially older, teens older, because I'm not her. I can logically understand it. I can emotionally understand it, but I'm not her. So it's really, and I have empathy, thank God. But there's elements where I go, okay, but how do I parent? How do I, navigate that? Because it's not navigatable to me in the moments, because, when am I allowed to lay a hammer without a physical mental break, with a kid who can literally start hot water burn baby, what is the line? Because, and that's the thing, Doug struggles with that too, because to him, it's very black and white, and he's like, bullshit. And I'm like, she's not lying. And then I'm on her side,
Yeah.
So
very complicated. It sounds really complicated. I think the thing too is I did an episode recently about having kids with anxiety, like real anxiety problems, not just like, normal anxiety, but real, I can't move forward. I can't function. I'm totally shut down.
Yep.
And my intention was to have a safe space for the two women and me to just fucking bitch and complain about how much it sucks to be the parent that you have to use kid gloves all the time.
Totally.
When you want to just go, can I just put my foot actually in your ass at the moment? That would make me feel like $1 million. But
absolutely.
yeah. But I couldn't really, I was very happy with our conversation. There was nothing wanting in that episode or conversation. However, in saying that, I was hoping that I'm hoping for a space on this podcast or anywhere in life where you can say those things like, this sucks for me. I have to tell you, I just recently, for the first time in my 18 years with Bert, said, I'm not sure you understand how much your anxiety sucks for me.
That's right.
I am not discounting your pain, your suffering, your process, which is far worse than mine.
Right. But
it sucks for me too.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It still sucks for me.
Right.
And I need you to know how it sucks for me. Because then maybe sometimes when you're in the moment having this anxiety and I am less patient than you and saint-like, if I am less patient and less saint-like than you think I ought to be, maybe you'll have some perspective of, oh, this actually sucks for her as well.
Right.
Maybe she's not suffering like I'm suffering, and it is suffering. To see someone who's in true anxiety is very painful.
It is very painful. It is, yes, because I don't suffer from that type. I suffer from claustrophobia, which is an anxiety and a phobia, but I do the work to get through that. And I don't have to look to it doesn't really affect other people. It affects me. It affects them if they're with me on an elevator or they're next to me on a plane and they're not talking to me and I start having moments, but it doesn't really impact them.
Yeah.
But I've said, it's interesting you said that. I have said recently to Doug, not about him actually, I said, because Doug suffers from depression. I love how I just got quiet like he's in the room. He doesn't have the patience to listen to this little thing, so it won't matter. He won't hear it. No, but he suffers from depression, and it has gotten dark and scary before. And I don't have that. During COVID, I would say was the first time I ever had some blue moments where I got blue. But I can always pinpoint it. I'm depressed because of this. I feel this way because of this. He can't, and Avery can't. And then I'm stuck with trying to navigate the eggshell walking, right? And I said to him recently, I said, this sounds so bad, but I was like, I get fucking nothing from Avery. Nothing. I don't get affection. I don't get concern. I don't get love the way I need love. I don't get mentorship. I don't get adoration. I don't get respect to that degree. I get respect because I demand respect, not because she looks up to me.
Or because she wants to give it.
Yeah. I don't get, and the hard part for me is that when I've reached my boiling point, I turn into my mother and love my mom, but I become what my mom used to be. I could become very mean. And I've said to Avery, you give me nothing. You give me blank. I get nothing from you. And I've said that. And I remember going, what's wrong with you? And then it's the guilt, right? While I'm saying it. But what sucks is that if someone said that to me, I would go, what do you mean I don't give you anything? Are you kidding me? I am blah, 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 blah. Or I'd be like, that kills me that that's what you think. But what I got was nothing. I just got, what do you mean?
Like confused, huh?
Like, you mean like money?
Is that what she said? Really? She said you mean like money.
And I remember going,
I think you should have said, yeah, that's what I mean. Money.
Like, you mean
what the fuck?
Money or like presents? And I'm like, God forbid I got a Mother's Day card. Didn't.
No, I didn't either for my Kreischer.
But you know what I mean? Like, and then you just feel guilty. I was like, you're a horrible mother. Mm-mm. I know I'm not. Like, I know I'm not. But then I go, you're a horrible mother. Who says that shit? Avery's going to be in therapy. My mom. No, she won't, because she won't even remember that conversation happened.
Well, the truth of the matter is we all have our moments. We all have our moments where we're a complete and total asshole.
Yeah.
Every single... I challenge any mother on the planet to say they've never had an asshole moment, or 2 or 10 or 12, especially when your daughter is a teenager. It's real. I mean, it's inevitable. So, I mean, yes, guilt is helpful to say maybe that wasn't the best course of action, but I don't really think it's anything that should be held on to for too long, because for one, they believe they know better than you anyway, so they're not even really listening. So when you say something, they're like, what does she know? I'm not listening to her anyway.
You don't know the stressors. I'm like, you're right. I was working at 13. My bad.
Totally, right? So
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know exactly what you mean.
You're right. I just moved 14 times and had to go to a new school every second of every day, make new friends, live in an apartment, lived in a hotel, like, oh, my bad. 3 dads, like, okay, you've had a stable life, you live in a beautiful home, you have a pool that you don't go into and air stuff. I mean, you're like, oh my God, life, it's the first world problems kind of thing. And that whole, boo-hoo. I told Avery once, she was, we were getting to a debate, if you will, politically. It's always a blast in my household. And I just said to her, I said, hey, you're a little weeping heart, go nuts. I haven't seen you volunteer shit. I said, AOC would love that. You need to go and volunteer. I go, do you think AOC, because, Avery's pretty liberal. I said, I'm not pretty liberal. She is. I said, so you want to go to a private art institute for, how much is that a year? I'm like, ooh, I don't know. That's pretty privileged. Ooh, that might not work. You might be embarrassed.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just go to the community college around the corner.
Right.
I was like, well, yeah. So shut your pie hole. Because in order to get that, I have to do this. And it's weird. And I think I'm looking forward to and hoping, praying and channeling that she will grow this year and I will see progress and I will be able to look at her and go, you can launch.
Right.
You have my thumbprint. I've done the best I know how to do. Your father has. We love you. We support you, but don't bring your ass back home.
Right.
Right? It's like, get your shit together.
So what are you going to do when she's gone? I've been talking about this with my friends lately because, some of my friends also have coming up seniors. Mm-hmm. And then we have kids 2 years younger. So once they're gone, like, I just went to Serbia. What'd you say?
All Isla for you. It's just going to be Isla there.
I know, for like 2 years. Isla she's now talking about going to college. She never did before, which I'm happy for. And I don't care if she doesn't go to college, if she goes to art school or somewhere else. I don't really give a shit. I just want her to do something that makes her happy. But I went to Serbia, with Bert. Bert's in Serbia now. Filming.
About that. Oh my God.
But in my trip, we partied. We had a blast.
I just have to watch because I love when I see you on his stuff. I watch it. I love Bert, that, but I watch to see you on there and you dancing. I'm like, she is drunk. Oh my God.
I was drunk quite a bit in Serbia.
Mafia, drinky poo. And I was so happy. You let your hair down.
I did. And, it's made me reflect a little bit. I actually think I talked about this recently. When I had kids, I shifted who I am a little bit to tone myself down, so to speak, because I'm a mom. I'm not the wild and crazy girl that Bert was dating, all of a sudden when you're a mom, I can't be up till 2:00 in the morning. I can't be drinking 3 or 4 nights a week because I can't function. He could do it because I was not doing it. And then somebody had to function. So not that I'm going to go back to drinking 3 or 4 nights a week necessarily, but I'm not entirely looking forward to my kids being out of the house, but I'm trying to focus on the fun that can continue on, like when we were dating, and now we can be like we were dating again. Because with the kid, like, what was it the other day? We were on the phone with him and he wanted me to flash him. And I'm like, the girls are right. They're like right there. I'm not going to flash you while the girls are up and walking around the house. No. And he's like, just one boob. And I'm like, I will not do it. No. But I thought if I were home alone, I'd totally flash him.
Totally. Yep, and you better be recording that shit.
Exactly. Well, he knows better than that. But I was like, that's going to be fun. That's something to look forward to, that we can just, not that having kids hasn't been amazing, but I don't ever want to think these are the best years of my lives. You know how people go, high school are the best years of my lives. How sad that high school, I mean,
when you're
only, I don't know who you were. You were 18 years old. So now you have 80 years ahead of you. That's not the best years of your life. That kind of sucks. Totally. I'd like to think of it more as like just transitioning from one amazing mode into another amazing mode, like single girl trying to make it career mode into mom and wife mode, and now into like empty nest mode. I'm not excited for my kids to leave. I don't want anybody to think that. I'm actually going to really miss them a lot. The pandemic has done really positive things with all 4 of us, as far as kind of getting really connected. I think we had gotten a bit disconnected, and I think that kind of got us all back connected. So it's making me think, I'm really going to miss Georgia when she goes in a year and a half or a year and change. But I am looking forward to just kind of just being me and Bert.
Yeah, I know. I feel that too.
Do you?
I do. I think I have started drinking, which is funny because you know me, I've never been a big drinker. I went through my phase in LA and, 6 Crown and Cokes. I was like, who are you? That was my life for a while. And then was like, I'll never have a drink again. Like, I'm done. And then I met Doug, and he used to drink really heavily because he was in a rock band, and that's how he came out of his shell. And I'm like, yeah, I like you in your shell. That guy is barfy. I don't like that guy. That guy looks stupid. He actually is unattractive to me. So we had a moment in our courtship where I told him, I remember this, we had bought that house, and I said, I won't marry a drunk, just so we're clear. I will not marry someone who has to do that, because I'm so afraid of that behavior, because that's not me. It scared me. And because, I did not do well with that in my life. So I was like, okay. And he was just like, okay. And that kind of created him to not drink ever. Like, and we used to get in fights about if he would. So, but as we've gotten older now, I found a drink that I like without getting a migraine and getting sick. I used to get really sick if I drank. So now if I have a Moscow Mule, Tito's love it. And I would get a Moscow Mule going, and I can have a couple of them. But the other night I had this new drink called Perfection from a restaurant here. They gave me the recipe. Oh my God. It is so good. It is so good. It's like 1.5 ounce of, it's very rich though. It's like 1.5 ounce of Saint Germain liqueur, 1.5 of Grey Goose pear. And then you make a sweet and sour mix, if you will, of like a lemon, a lime juice with some simple syrup, with some pineapple juice. Sugar rim, and it's strong, but you can't taste it. It's like a Long Island almost. I had 3, and I was like, boom, it's 9 shots. It's like doing 9 shots on the bar. Who's hooking up with who? What's up? I mean, it was on, and I was like, and Doug's he loves it. He loves if I get lit, because it's only happened like 3 times in 23 years. So kind of like you in Serbia, it loosens you up. You feel great. Feel like shit the next day, of course, because that's the other thing that happens. But yeah, there's an element of like when Avery goes to work, she left her job did 2 weeks notice at her hosting at that pizza place because it's too much. She can't take a lot coming at her, and it was making her have like panic attacks. And I'm like, this isn't worth it. This is not worth it. She got a job at an ice cream store here called Wits, and it's easy. And she gets to be on her phone and simple and gets to dress. She dresses more goth, and it makes me barf. Like, I'm like, oh God, her hair. She has white, pink hair. I'm just like, it does this dark wing thing. And I'm like, I told her, I said goth, never. Goth, I won't do. You cannot do goth. Well, she's turning into a Comic-Con. Like she wants to, like she looks Japanese anime. Right.
Oh my God.
Right. I'm like, if you don't want to look androgynous, don't dress like that. How about that?
Right.
Oh, you think you look like a boy? Well, here's a note.
That's funny. Georgia does that wing thing too, where it goes out. Like all the girls are doing it.
I know. And Avery obsesses on it. Almost couldn't get to prom because she was freaking out. But
anyways, she had prom?
She had prom with her friends. They did. And it was outside. And finally they took the masks off. And they're all vaccinated. I'm like, Avery, take your mask off for a picture. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. I'm like, you can. You can. I spent $9,000 on that mouth. Please take a picture with your teeth showing. Because her high school picture, she's like this. I'm like, did you smell shit? Was there shit in there? And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, pasty girl. I'm like, get out the pool right there. A little bit of color, a little vitamin D. Do you really good? Because you don't need to look like Death Gumby Blob Fest. But
no,
I think parenting is hard. I think anyone that thinks it's not is either literally on Xanax all day or full of shit. And I agree. I think that as women, whatever. I'm a man. I can't speak for my husband. I can speak for me, but I'm much more than just a mom. And I knew that when I was a stay-at-home mom for a year and said, this isn't for me. I'm not cut out for that. Because I'm not going to be my best self. I know it. I knew it. And I'm glad that I did that because I think that if I had done that, I would have resented a lot of just the solitude. And it's just not me. It's not who I can be. So, I feel good. Business sucks, with all the bullshit in California. It's awful with the shutdowns and it's just awful. But we'll come out of it. And I think the goal is that Avery launches. Doug and I can party in the jacuzzi, make it if we want to, with a Perfection and a Moscow Mule, a couple of them. And I think that that's I call them phases, right? What's my next invention? What's my next invention of me? Who am I? And business is good and it will be better. And so just continuing to go and thrive in that and just try to enjoy it. Because man, I'll tell you what, it feels shorter. Like I feel, I'm 47, so I'll be 48 in December. And it's got this I don't know, there's a moment where you're looking at yourself and you're going, wow, definitely halfway done. Do I really want to be around at 90? I don't know if anybody wants to see that. I don't know if I want to see that.
It's an acquired taste, I think.
Yeah, all of it. But I'm thinking that, I wonder how the next few years are going to land, and I'm a control freak. So it's hard for me in that control mind because I can't control any of it. I can't control it. I can only control how I feel about it and how I interpret it and how I react to things. Right.
Yep.
So right now I'm failing in reaction because I'm reactive to the situations that are around me, but hoping that I can have a connection. I want to connect with Avery more before she's out of the house so that she can remember, hopefully, and say, oh no, yeah, parents and that kind of crap happened. But my mom was a rock star. You just want that.
You do. I just said this to somebody the other day too. I was like, I can't wait till they get to the place where they realize how awesome I was. Right? Because there's parts, but then I guess there's the flip side of that too, because I always thought my dad was awesome. And then I got to be an adult and I was like, oh, look at that flaw. I didn't see that one little flaw. Oh, there's another one? Oh, no, Daddy. I thought you were carved out of cream cheese. I didn't know that you had a little mold here and there. But I think they already think I have a lot of mold. So I'm hoping they come to that place where I go, oh, my mom was really smart, or my mom was really wise, or she was really, thoughtful in that way. And I'd like to learn from that, because I don't feel like they are learning from that now. I mean, maybe they are. I think my kids are pretty balanced, level-headed, really bright. Kids, I feel really lucky, other than Isla's learning disability, and they both have some anxiety, but nothing is unmanageable. Nothing is super crazy. I mean, the learning disability has been really hard. So cute. Isla had to write, she had to read this poem about a butterfly emerging from a cocoon. I don't remember. It's a famous poem. I don't remember who wrote it, though. And she had printed out her assignment, which was to kind of relate the lesson in that poem to something in her life. So she left this on the printer, and I picked it up and I was like, what is this? And I started reading it, and she said, what I learned from this is that sometimes it's not always good to let people help you, because sometimes it's a lot easier when people help you than if you do it yourself. But really, if you don't ever start doing it yourself, you never can do it yourself. This is what made me think about this. When I was in elementary school, my mom would help me with my homework every day. And at the end of 5th grade, she said to me, you're going to middle school next year, and I can't help you like this anymore. And I panicked, and I got really scared, and I didn't want to have to do the homework by myself, and I didn't know where to start, and I got really overwhelmed. But then I decided I would sit next to my sister and just watch how she did her homework. And then I would do it myself based on what I saw her do. And then I realized if my mom had kept helping me with my homework, I would have never known how to do my homework myself. So I was like, wow, she's come. I didn't know that she knew that's what I was doing. That is what I was doing.
That's great. And those are the moments, right? You probably were like, she knew I was there. Like being a mom is the most selfless thing. I don't care what anyone says. A good mom. There's shitty moms. We know that, right?
Yeah.
Especially you've been through the ringer, right? So, but you changed the trajectory of that path, right? You changed the historical. Shouldn't have been that way. You should have been similar to, right? If you were to go on with historically, and everybody's hopefully changing paths to better behaviors and relationships.
Right. Yeah.
Same here. It's like, I want Avery to know that I was present, even though I was busy doing a lot of stuff. I was gone a lot. But that when it counted most, I was fucking there. I was there, and that I was her advocate, and I pushed and I prodded and I fought and I scrapped, and that I'd kick anyone's ass that got in her way and literally rip their face off. And the thing that I do know, I would say, if it's about, like, I guess, kind of putting a bow on, all the about parenting, the sandwich, if you will, the meat we talked about and the fluff, but let's get to the bottom fluff, is at the end of the day, she knows her father, yes, but there's a level with me, is that I will murder anyone that tries to do anything to alter the trajectory of her life. You know what I mean? Like, I will physically remove them from the planet. And that is a visceral, like, and she knows it. There's a thing she knows. There's a side of me that isn't hard to see. It's not like it comes out of its shell every once in a while. It's right there in your face. You know it. It's kind of like, there's a little, my dad calls it the crazy eye. There's a little crazy eye in there, right?
It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you've always been. If you love somebody, yeah.
Oh, love it with everything inside me, right? And so that's the thing I have to keep on coming back to, is that this is who I'm supposed to be the mother to. And this is the challenge that I am facing. And this is what I have to learn from it, as difficult and as humbling as that is, and as irritating and fucking exhausting as that is to me. I at least have the ability to identify that that's what it feels like. And she doesn't. So hopefully the gift to her is that she knows that she is loved in whatever love language that means to her. Right.
Right.
And I think that's all I can ask, is that she knows that. You know,
I think she can't doubt that. I don't see any way in the world she could doubt that she's loved.
yeah.
I don't
hope
think
she
so.
misses me. I want her to miss me. You know what I mean? Because I'm a pain in her ass right now. I remind her about her butthole. Like, did you wash yourself? I remind her, did you put on deodorant? Did you take a pill? Did you blah, 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 right? Stop reminding me of everything. Well, then you should take it because I see that you didn't take it. What am I going to do in college? We're not going to be there. I'm like, no, I might be there. I might be like, you know. but I see that she's craving that independence, and to me, you have to earn that independence. So I'm hoping that she misses that. That my love language is doing things for her, and you do a ton of stuff for your kids. And
of course, yeah,
I
do. I do less and less, though. I have to say, I've been trying to my whole time being a parent. I've been trying to read. I think parenting is a slow release, right? Like you're talking about how they get out of the nest and fly.
Yeah.
I think it's a slow release. And I'm at the end of the release for Georgia. I've got my hands are like almost all the way open so she can fly out. So I've been trying to really read their signals for what they want to be completely independent on. One, for instance, is Isla really wants to make her own lunch. Obviously, I let her obviously she can make her own lunch. She's 14. Sure, make your own lunch. She was really lazy and wanted me to do it for a while. So, okay. And I would say, why don't you make your own lunch? But she wasn't ready. So does it really fucking matter who makes her lunch as long as she has lunch and eats it?
As long as she eats it, right?
She does. So she started making her own lunch this year. And I felt like that was a bigger piece than just the lunch. It was about her feeling comfortable taking a step away from me. Right. And letting that step happen when she was ready for it. I don't need to make anybody lunch. I'm cool not. But I knew she wanted me. That was a connection for her.
100%.
So she wasn't ready for the hands to be that open yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So whereas, and George is different. George has been making her lunch forever. Yeah. So I don't have to do that. So I'd get up and George would make her lunch. I'd be making Isla's lunch. But Isla just wasn't ready. And to not even have to have a conversation with her about the deeper meaning of the lunch making. To just know that I'm ready to let go when she's ready to let go.
Right.
But if she's not ready to let go, then I'm not ready either. And there's going to be some times like with the homework where I say, I can't help you anymore like this. Obviously, I helped her with her schoolwork. I would never say, sucks for you, you're on your own. But in elementary school, I would literally sit down with her, open her folder, go through all her assignments, figure out. I was really like a tutor.
Sure. That's how I felt this past semester. Like a tutor. Driving.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was that way in 8th grade when we first got into this pandemic. Because the teachers were like, her history teacher was like, read chapter 31. And I'm like, that's 25 pages in a textbook. My child is dyslexic. Are you kidding me? So I would read out loud to her just to get her so that she could do the assignment that was necessary. You had to read 25 pages to be able to answer the 8 questions.
And what would she do? She'd probably be like, this, I can't, so I'm not. I can't. I'm not.
She just wouldn't turn it in. She'd start reading and then she'd realize halfway through a paragraph, she had no idea what she just read. And then she'd have to read it again. So I'm like, for me to spend 30, 40 minutes reading so that she can do the work, so that she can learn what she's supposed to be learning in 8th grade. Because if she were in class, the teacher would be lecturing about it.
Right. And they probably all turns reading it out loud or whatever.
So she could listen. So the function of eyeball reading doesn't work for her. Audiobooks work great. No problem. But this textbook wasn't on audiobook. So, okay. So I'm back to 2 steps back into sitting down with her every day to make sure that she's on track, because that executive function piece for Isla is part of it. She has a little bit of that in that she has a sensory processing disorder. And sometimes that sensorially, if there's too many things happening at once, the way the neurological psychologist described it to me was it was like having too many windows open on your computer. If she's got 7 classes, she has to keep up with reading, assignments, homework, all the classwork all at once, and all of that's on her plate. her computer slows to nearly nothing. Yep. So if looking and saying I have to read 25 pages in a textbook makes her computer crash, well, I can take that away and give, wasn't doing any of that for Georgia. She didn't need it.
Right.
But I just knowing when to push them a little bit and then knowing when they need to decide for themselves. I'm ready to go. Right. I'm ready to make my own lunchbox. Okay, do it. Let's go. And sometimes she'll wake up and go, can you just make it today? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Yeah. That's what I'm here for. I'm here when you need me.
Yeah.
When you need me. Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me too, when Avery, this past semester was awful, like we talked about. And, for your child, it's like reading 25 pages, like, right? Are you kidding? Like, it's not going to be, and I can't do it by tomorrow. The brain goes, what? It's when Avery is told, so pick a topic.
Oh God.
And write about it.
Oh, it's too open-ended.
Create a story about how a manager could do, have some safe things in a restaurant. She's like, I have to write a Nobel Peace Prize book on, and I'm like, let me give you the story. So you went back and the shrimp fell on the thing and the guy put it back in the thing and said, that's a hazard. There you go. There's your story.
Right.
I wouldn't say that. You don't have anything to say about it because your brain is going, I don't know. It's when we say to each other, like, say something that you are grateful for. Peel the face back and have an alien come out. You can't, it's when I said to Doug at our 10-year wedding anniversary in Destin, Florida, about to toast each other, right? He hates toasts. Hates them. That's why he's glad we eloped. No one saw it. Because he went, there's a reason, he went, and I said to him, so say 3 things that you love about me.
Was it just crickets?
I was like, I'll just wait. And I went, oh no. I said, I'll never forget. It was a big fight because I said, you realize that I could say 50 things about me that are great. I could tell you 50 things about me that you should acknowledge and love because I'm great. So, pretty eyes, I'm funny. I have a nice body. I mean, where does it end? You want me to just keep going? And I said, and I can name 100 things about you that are great. You don't need that? No. And he just was like, and it turned into a fight. He was like, don't put me on the spot. And because he went into, it's Avery. Avery, say a couple things that you're grateful for. And I'm like,
it's a deer in the headlights.
And she said, I have too many things in my head. That I'm like, too many things that are great. Can't just decipher one. Can't
choose one. Just choose one.
How about you love your cats? Nope. I'm like, well, I did put a parameter. I said, don't mention the animals. That's an easy go. I'm like, no, say something that you appreciate. Nope, can't do it. And I said, okay, with life lesson. I always go, life lesson. When you're in a relationship, you may find someone that's just like you and they won't need it. Or you may find someone that's like me. We need it. We need you to at least acknowledge what you think is pretty cool about us or what you like that we do. And it can be as simple as, I like when you put mayonnaise on my sandwich. Because I normally wouldn't ask for that. It can be because Doug would always be afraid to say something small because he thought I needed a marching band.
Right.
And I was like, I just need a flute. Just flute. You don't even have to play the flute. I just need to see the flute. Right? I don't need the marching band. It's like, yeah, you do. Like, no, the marching band would be great. But I know I'm not going to get the marching band. I'm just going to get the guy that holds the flute and points to it. Okay, but at least you're there. So it is interesting when you're dealing with that because they just can't function when it's too open and it's too much. It overwhelms. I mean, she literally can go into a full blown like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. I don't need to know why you love me or that you do.
Never mind.
I'll just tell myself, hold on. I'll just pet myself in the corner.
I'll pet myself in the corner. I love you.
You're so pretty. You're so smart. And gosh darn it, people like me. That's what in the corner. They're like, what's wrong with Christina? She used to be so funny. I'm like, what? My child and my husband made me turn into a crazy person. You know, they're talking about how beautiful she is. That's what I feel like. Anyways, it's so because I keep touching it. I'm obsessed. I'm just going, it's awful. Zoom has ruined my life because then I'm just staring at myself all day. And I'm like, whose fat face is that? Oh, that's a pimple.
You're not fat faced. You don't have a fat face.
Oh, are you kidding? Look. I'm due for some Botox, getting a little old here. I'm due. You know, I'm all for it, dude. What do you need? How can you suck it up? Tummy tuck. When I hit 50, I'm telling you, we are hip to hip. Pick it up. Take it.
Are you really?
I think so, because listen, I got that C-section block that I'm like, I could see listen, if I walk by a window or something, I'm like, did my mother just walk by? Hold on. What is that? Like, how did I thicken? Is there surgery for that? Is there surgery?
I don't know. If you find it, let me know, because I'm pretty thick in the middle. I was working out today. You know, I still work out with a trainer 3 days a week, and he's amazing, and I am super fit. Like, I'm in really fit shape, and I'm still fat.
Well,
I don't understand how that works. Like, I'm not fat. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fat person.
And people are like, "You're not fat."
No, I'm not fat.
I know,
but there is an area of my body that will not tone and will only sag and has fat in it. And no, it's not that. It's my back. I have back fat. It's like on my back and like above. It's like between my ass and my bra.
It's almost like how, like ham hog, you know, like a handlebar, or not handlebar.
No,
but, you know, like,
it's between my pants.
Show us.
It's the muffin top in the back,
but not at the muffin. It's higher. Is it the bra?
The back? Yeah, it starts at the bra, and I just kind of have these two saggy, sad pieces, and then I've got the two like upper hip over the waistband. Like, it looks like you took two Big Mac sandwiches and stuck them above my belt line, but below my waist, and just kind of spread them around. And then you went above my waist and you hung two hot dogs.
Hot dog arm?
No, that's still on my back. No, I'm not talking about these bad boys. I got these flappers too.
No, but you have good muscle tone.
But my arm is because I work out. I have great muscle tone. And my abs, I was doing ab work today going, that I have never been in this good shape in my entire life. Like, when I was in high school, I probably wasn't in this good shape. Why the fuck do I have 2 Big Macs and 2 hot dogs on my back? They're just stuck there.
I can't. You realize that I need to draw that. Like, I'm picturing it and I'm going. All
right, I'll draw it for you. Here it is.
Hot dogs and Big Macs. Because I may have indulged in a couple of those in my life.
Okay. Can you see it? So here's my waist.
Is that your ass?
That's my ass crack. So I've got.
Oh my God. If Austin isn't laughing, I'm going to.
2 Big Macs and 2 hot dogs. And now wait, right here's my bra. This is my bra strap. So in this very small, compressed, short-waisted area of mine, I have 2 Big Macs of fat and 2 hot dogs of fat. And I can't get rid of the motherfuckers no matter what I try. And it makes me feel so ugly. And I'm not ugly and I'm not fat. I'm in great shape. But the 2 Big Mac, 2 hot dog back is not good.
Well, you are ridiculous. And the hot dogs, I have to see. I think there's not a drawing. I think it needs a real picture. Let me show you my body. Okay. Since we're in art class, I'm going to show you my body. I see what I want it to be, but it's not. I have to correct it. Hold on.
Well, you know, when I started with my trainer, he told me I was an H shape. Now at least I'm an X. He said, you walked in the door and you were an H. Now you're an X. So I have a waist now.
Well, you want to get to a V? What are you trying?
No, an X is what you want. Like, you see how this is an X. See how my body looks like an X? When I walked in, I was an H. I was straight. I had no waist at all.
That. Awesome. Well, if I have a side angle for you, and then I have this is the front. Okay, you got the big boobs, clearly big boobs, big nips. Got it. I mean, I didn't say that. Whatever. But my side now is like.
I don't think this is fair. You've spent way more time on your drawing than I did. I did a very perfunctory drawing.
My boobs look really funny. There's no abs, none, just cellulite. Right here, right in the belly, I have a C-section scar. Okay. Oh, all right. So that's a side view. There's the boob. It's big. That's too perky.
The boob's very perky. It's impressive.
Well, that's just because of what I think I see, but it's not that. You know that because they're real. But I have this belly right there. I have this belly. I can't draw. Then so here's the front view. They're really bad because I don't know what happened there. I think one's bigger than the other. That's the cellulite. This is the C-section scar. And this is this territory of a saucer that is I can grab it and I can jiggle. I can literally grab it like a the skinny cow, the ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
It's that. It's the ice cream sandwich and probably from ice cream sandwiches, but it is so gross that I'm like, how painful is a tummy tuck? I really want to know, like hip to hip. No one's seeing that really anyways, Doug, and he goes, don't fix yourself. I'm like, because when we're doing it and I'm on my side, all I do is go, oh God, got it. Oh no.
Yeah.
You don't need to see all that. Like, and he's like, you look fine. I'm like, really? Let's get real. I just want to have and my legs used to never have cellulite on them. And now I'm in a bathing suit and I'm like, what's that? What is that? Why are you touching? What's that flapping?
I love the water. And the one reason I don't get in the water is because I am very uncomfortable with myself in a bathing suit.
Isn't that suck?
Yes, it does. And it's, the logical, evolved, holistic part of my brain goes, you look fine you're 50. You remember what 50-year-old women looked like when you were a kid?
And you were like, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
But I feel like I look like what 50-year-old women looked like when I was a kid.
You feel like people are looking at you that are 20 going, ooh, right?
I wouldn't have put that on. Yeah. I think, and I'm like, I don't wear bikini. Fuck that. I haven't worn a bikini since before I had kids.
Oh, absolutely. I like respect for the bikini.
But the problem with me is because of the hot dogs, like I have to wear a full back bathing suit. But if I don't, like the back of the bathing suit also ends at my breast line. Like I have to wear a Speedo or the hot dogs are just flopping.
And then this, because I'm needing to wear a torso lifter.
Yes. I don't know why they haven't made corset type bathing suits so that
put it on, you're going to look like a hot dog. That's the problem. I
already have 2 hot dogs hanging off my back. I swear to God, I'll send you a picture after and you'll go, that's 2 fucking hot dogs and 2 Big Macs. That's what's the problem.
Picture of this.
So,
it is. But it's something that has to disappear.
It's so depressing because I love being in the sun and I wish I weren't so vain.
Me too.
I don't know.
I see big girl. I'm like, there are big girls that are like, boom. And I'm like, ooh. And I'm like, damn, but she's confident. And she is rocking that triple. And I'm going, but inside I'm like, ooh, I hope I'm being judgmental going, ooh, that takes a lot of confidence. I wouldn't wear that. Yeah. And so I'm being the dick. And then, but I find myself going, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, where did this is the sacrifice? Like, but I'm like, would I still look the same if I hadn't had a kid? Probably the same. You know what I mean? Because the food choices and the life, I don't know. And I'm pale. So add that little hot sausage in that mess. It's awful because the paler you are, the fatter you look.
Totally.
And you can see every dimple, crevice, creeper on my body. And
you are right about that. The paler you are, the more flaws are shown. I'm not as pale as you, but I'm sure not as dark as Sandy, who's Chinese. And I go, she has no flaws on her body at all. She's also tiny and skinny and whatever. But her skin looks amazing because she's Asian. She has beautiful skin. Mine is like freckles.
Years and she dude, I've got porokeratosis, they call it. You can see it. Hold on. Let me give you a little treat. You see the red dots? Leprosy? Yeah. That's hot. That's hot.
Well, if you have leprosy, it'll fall off at some point, so you won't have to worry about it.
As long as I don't just have a nub. But yeah, I got these little red dots from driving in the car. My mom's like, I have those too. And I'm like, you got them all over your body. Oh, God, it's coming. It's happening.
That's my future. I went to the dermatologist once because I had eczema in the back of my hair. And she was like, well, let me just do a body check because you have quite a lot of freckles and make sure you don't have any moles that are kind of suspicious. I took my clothes off and she went, oh, you've got quite a lot of sun damage.
You're like, you need to curb the reaction.
She literally went, oh, you got quite a lot of sun damage, especially on your legs. And I went, yeah, I grew up in the South. We didn't really do sunscreen. And she's like, let me take a close look.
Dig in there. Have you ever been to a dermatologist that spread your ass cheeks?
She did. Yeah.
Sorry, my son's in my eyes. Yeah, that's really weird. And I had someone do that once and I went, all right. There's not been any sun in my butthole. Can you please, I'm not wearing a thong. No one needs to see that. It was bad. And I said, please, there's just a level. There's a level and it's really bright.
But you know what? It's for a reason. I have a mole in my butt crack. I have a mole in the crack of my butt.
A song, by the way. I hear a song. I have a mole in my butt crack. I have a mole in my butt crack.
I do. I have one right in the butt crack. It's way up high. I have a high butt crack too. It's a high one, but it's way up kind of in the upper region. But she checked it because I was like, a mole is a mole. That's a growth. It could be cancerous.
Yeah, I had mine removed. I had one on my neck for years that Doug called Becky. He had named it. He said, oh, it was like a finger. I said, no, it isn't. Now he's getting tags. He has 4 tags. And I'm like, interesting. You've got a third nipple, a little penis. What's happening on your body, by the way? At least mine was on my neck and I could hide it. What's up with your face?
Okay, so here's something I'm going to look forward to when our kids are gone. I think that the 4 of us should go on some kind of vacation because the last time that me and Bert were with you and Doug, we had so much flipping fun. It was at your house in Asheville. Bert and Doug, what's really interesting, we seem to do that with our couples, with our friends.
Yeah.
The woman is usually Bert and the man is usually me. Right? So Bert and I...
You can't have 2 Berts in the room.
Can't have 2 Berts. But I mean, Sandy and Tom are definitely... Tom and I are very similar, and Bert and Sandy are very similar. Mm-hmm. Same with Stephen and Kathy. I could say the same with all our friends out here. We have, I relate to the husband.
That's interesting.
And Bert always relates to the woman, and we all seem to all get along together. And I think that's why. Yeah. It's not because the 2 men relate and the 2 women, and then you separate. Right. We always seem to, because when the 4 of us would hang out, the 4 of us would hang out until Doug got ready to go to bed.
So Doug disappeared, started touching the wall and going, you built the freaking thing. What do you, just checking. Yep, it's still there. I'm going to bed. I'm out? Okay, that's rude. But, who cares? And Bert was loud.
That is exactly because me, you, and Bert are very, we're not partiers per se, Bert is, but we will stay up and socialize and hang out and play games and drink.
And Doug's eyes are burning. He's the dry eye syndrome's already got him. He's already like his eyes are burning. And I'm like, you already checked out. If he could learn to sleep with his eyes open, we'd be golden. But yeah. And we don't have any friends out here, so it'd be perfect. We have a great home for entertaining. We just have no one coming over.
You do.
In Charlotte. He's in Charlotte, isn't he, performing?
Yes, I believe he is.
Yeah.
So is Charlotte close to you?
2 hours away. Yeah.
Well, if you want to go, let me know. I'll get you tickets and then you can go see him. Backstage, go backstage and see him. Yeah. He would love, he loves you.
I love him too.
Christina.
I love you. And with you comes Bert, and I love Bert. And I just think I'm just so glad that we have been able to stay connected this long. You know what I mean? Because things happen, life changes, you move, and out of sight, out of mind. But I love that I know, come hell or high water, you got my back. You know, I got yours. And we've just grown, you know, our lives. We watch each other grow up as adults now. You know what I mean? We were 20s and trying to be something in Hollywood. And, you know, it's amazing how it's panned out, and then having kids. And I just think it's pretty fascinating. It's one of the joys of my life to be able to look back, because I only have a handful of people that I look to and go, solid forever.
I'm the same. I feel the same about you and about Doug. I do feel exactly the same. I was just saying this to my kids on a podcast. I did a podcast with Georgia and Sandy and Tom's daughter, Kylie, a couple weeks ago. And I was like, what's really interesting, this applies to you and Doug too, but obviously Avery wasn't here. I was talking to her about her parents, is that we've kind of grown at the same pace. We met each other at the same place, and we've grown into similar places on our own paths. Yeah. So no paths are relative to each, you know. Sandy and Tom's path is totally different than mine and Bert's, and yours and Doug's is totally different, but we've all grown kind of at the same pace and are at the same level, not just meaning like financially or anything. I mean, like as a couple, as a human being, as a business owner, as a parent. It's really, I think it's a real blessing to have a friend. And I think you are one of my very, very few friends I had before Bert that I still have now, that we've grown together, because you outgrow people very naturally. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you being right with someone in a certain place and growing apart. I think that's totally natural, but it is a real gift to have you because you are one of the people that we've grown together. That's such a blessing.
We have. It is, because you get to, and I look at it and I'm like, we got a lot longer to go. And I go, okay, all right, what's the next journey? What's continuing? And then it's to be continued, you know? And when you wrote me, because I saw that Tom and Christina had been to the spa, I just randomly am looking at our list, and I went, Tom, I saw Segura, and I went, oh, Tom, and I said, oh, Christina, they both went. They don't know me. I'm like, oh, I hope they enjoyed it.
Wait, where was that spa?
Raven Spa, the one in Santa Monica. It's a Thai infused. They will kick your ass, right? You and Bert have to go. Like, I'm sending you guys there. You have to go when you get back down. I mean,
throw me in the briar patch, man. I'm ready.
They will bend you, and I mean, they're incredible. These therapists, they're from Thailand. They're phenomenal. The landlord's a dick, but we're dealing with that right now. So, but I would tell you that. So I saw that and went, oh, that's crazy. So I wrote you, and I saw that you had been in Serbia. I didn't know if you'd gotten back yet, but I mean, I can't believe you were in Serbia. That's crazy. Like, that's so fun and crazy. Like, he's filming. Like, that, I didn't even know that was happening.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Yeah, the Machine movie is being made. It's pretty crazy. I was helping some. I don't want to say a lot. I don't want to overstep my real worth, but I was helping some with developing the story and because this is not just. It's a movie that's a little more than just the story that he tells on stage. It's actually a lot more than that. So I was really involved in the beginning of the process, and then I'm a producer on the movie. Which is crazy.
That's so exciting.
It's very exciting.
That's like life circle, purpose driven. Like, you know, a lot of what you put aside for a long time, you know, and your talent and your skill, and, you know, and it's a lot about Bert, and you have really you raised your kids, and you were there as his main support system, and also helping guide and maneuver, and you know what I mean? And he knows that, which I love, that Bert knows how critical you have been, and not just as like a cheerleader, no, actually helping drive the ship and captain it with. And he appreciates that. I see that. And I, just so you know, from one woman and wife to another, that I know your skill. I've seen your talent. I've watched you grow and put your story on hold for a long time and who you are to be that rock. And so I think that's really exciting for you. I think it's awesome.
It is really exciting. It was really exciting to go to Serbia and to be on set and to be in the producer's tent and to watch every shot. I was there for 5 days of shooting. And like I said, I read every draft of the script. I gave lots of notes. I don't know that the producers, the studio producers knew that some of the notes came from me because they were kind of presented as a group. These are our notes, but I did present quite a few notes about story. And, that's always what I did really well when I was writing with Liz is I did structure and story, and this is happening too early. This needs to happen later. This is not this person's dialogue. So I didn't really write the words of the script, but I was always very good at saying what wasn't working and maybe how to fix it. So I did contribute in that way. But Bert really, another thing that happened in Serbia is I figured out, like I always knew, obviously, that Bert needs me. I always know he needs me in a different way. I don't need as much as a human. Yeah. Not just from Bert.
Doug's self-sufficient. Like he doesn't need, but he needs.
I'm like an air fern. I'm an air fern. I just need air. I'm good. And if I need it, I say, hey, I need this. And then I get it. And then I'm done. But that's not who I married. Right. And I don't think I understood how much Bert needed me to come and be there for the first week, because now I know all the key players, actors, directors, DP, wardrobe. I know everybody he's in contact with on a daily basis, who's important, what they're like, so that when he talks to me, we can have an informed conversation about his life, and how that was important for feeling connected to me.
Right. And that you're not alone, and he's not alone in this experience.
Right. I could be alone. I'm cool, but he's not cool. And so I just didn't realize that piece until I got there, and I went, oh, okay, I'm really here to learn what his day-to-day is life, to buy some towels because he had one towel in his rental. And I'm here to help him. What he said he needed from me was to set the pace of the shoot, that this is fun and that he's doing a good job. He was doing a really good job as an actor. And, the first time I saw him act, I was like, you're a terrible actor. You are a terrible listener. You're not listening to anything the other actor is saying. And if you don't listen, how in the hell are you supposed to respond?
Right.
You're not listening. You're just worried about what you say next. You need to be listening. Well, this experience, when the first day after shooting, he was super nervous to ask me what I thought because I'm so very honest. Yeah. And I was like, you did a fantastic job. You were great listening and great responding, and you were really present and you were really dialed in. And so because that happened on the very first day of shooting, I think it set the pace for him for the rest of the shoot. So
confidence too, that confidence, so that you can talk about it, and you can also help guide him with, hey, you remember that guy? You might want to, correct. I
have.
Down. So
that's right.
When you're in it, and I can relate to Bert a lot in that way. Like Alana does that for me, because if we're, talking to people, she may be able to go, hey, maybe we need to talk to that person. Like she knows the room, can read it sometimes better than I can because I'm performing. Yeah, I'm on, and sometimes you can't see.
Yeah, in
front of you.
Yeah, totally. Someone else can see the social cues and the undertones when they're not directly in the communication, right? So I did that. That's what I did. I watched how everybody communicated with each other. Yeah. And then I was able to say, okay, here's what's going on for you with these people. Yeah. Right. So it was really great. And then we have some more good news, but I don't know if I can say it on the podcast. So I'll have to tell you afterwards. But I'm pregnant at 50. No.
It's happened before. Jane Seymour.
It's not going to happen to me.
If that's the case, then that's really ham hogs are going to, that's the change.
These are going to go they're going to be more like hoagies.
They're going to go down to your back of your knee. That's
right.
Moves down like a candle, dripping.
The hot dogs will turn into hoagies. And then the hamburgers, I mean, oh my God. Anyway.
You can't say hot dogs to me ever. I can't eat a hot dog ever again because I'm going to go, Leanne's back.
It's Leanne's back. It's Leanne's back. You're welcome. I ruined a highly processed meat
That's good. I
product
should be
for
eating
you.
that anyways, but a ballpark.
Let me tell you something. I love a hot dog.
Dude,
I love a good hot dog.
I can tear down a hot dog. Now, you want to really do it up with your liquid death? I can tear down a corn dog.
Oh, toes. Shut your front door. I'm a corn dog mama too. Look at my fingers. Look at my fingers. Mama love a corn dog. Mama love a corn dog. Anything deep fried?
You just turned carnival on us. You went carny. You went, ooh, give me that ticket. I can buy me some crushed lemonade and I can have me a deep fried Oreo and ooh, I can have me a corn dog. Maybe a turkey egg.
Bring it. I love all that stuff. I love it.
I love it.
Which is why I have a hot dog on my back.
And that was a great callback. Hey. Well, I know you got to go pick up your girl.
I do. I got to go. But
I love you
so much. I love you so much. I do. I miss you.
I miss you too.
I really do mean it. We should plan. I know that's 2 years from now for me, but we should plan. We should figure out a trip. Because
oh my God.
I would love it.
Let me tell you how much Doug needs that too. Because, hang on, friends. You're looking at her. And then I'm like, please, you bug me. Can you find somebody to talk to? Oh, no, you're not going to talk. You're just going to go and maybe mow a lawn.
But you know what?
He loves laughing with Bert. He loves laughing at Bert.
They were always easy friends.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because Doug doesn't have to do anything. Doug doesn't have to do anything. Bert will do all of it.
Yeah. He just laughs. It's kind of how I'm with him. I mean, he bugs me sometimes, but yeah, it's the same thing. And then you two would go off talking about design and architecture. And I'm like, okay, good. Nerd out. And Bert and I are going to laugh hysterically. And if you add a little bit of marijuana in there, it's a problem. But we'll definitely plan something. We need to celebrate being adults, having our children and seeing them, and then being able to go. And now it's party time.
Yep.
I'm all for it. So we'll start planning because, it takes 2 years anyways to plan anything these days.
With Bert pressure, we'll have to block the dates out now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because, and he's going to be like, should I bring a crew? Be like, no, you're not filming any of this.
This is private time. No, not with the hot dog back. No hot dog back on film.
And no ice cream sandwich. Okay. No. Cute. Big carny fest. I love it. All right. Well, listen, give your family my love. Tell Bert I'm so excited for him. I can't wait for that to happen in his tour, the relapse. I'm just continue cranking it out and get this house done for God's sake.
Amen. And we're coming up. We're almost done. All right. I love you. Okay. I love you. I'll see you soon.